After the craziness that was A Dog's Way Home, I figured it's time to watch something that's a little bit more grounded in reality. So I looked up the movies that I still have to see for this year. I saw the trailer for State Like Sleep, and I thought, you know what, this looks like it could be a good drama thriller, something a little bit flashy, something a little bit artistic, but also good acting. I'm going to give this one a try. Maybe this will be a little bit more grounded in reality. Did that guy have a shampoo fetish? What the fuck? State Like Sleep is a drama with a little bit of a crime drama / mystery thriller. It's definitely more of a drama, and it's definitely more of a character piece, which is what I like about the film. But again, it does have a little bit of a thriller mystery aspect to it. The movie stars Katherine Waterston, who is named Katherine conveniently in this film. At the very beginning of the movie, her actor husband kills himself. Not wanting to deal with the grief, not wanting to deal with the possible guilt because she blames herself, because they were about to break up just before he killed himself, or at least we learned that later on throughout the film. Now she runs away for a year, going back to America because they were living in Brussels at the time during the suicide. But then she gets a call from her mother, who is in Brussels, who had a mini stroke because she was dealing with the affairs that our main character wasn't dealing with, like all the stuff still in the loft. So Katherine goes back to Brussels and deals with her mom, who eventually becomes comatose because something bad, really bad, happens to her. And she's also haunted by the memories of her husband, who, again, killed himself at the very beginning of this movie. But as everything starts flooding back to her, she realizes that, hey, there's something off about some of the things that happened, and hey, maybe there was a reason that he killed himself. Well, of course there has to be a reason, and I have to know the reason why he killed himself. And then later on through the movie it starts becoming a question whether he did actually kill himself or if this was foul play. And so she's dealing with her mother's illness. She is trying to solve a possible mystery with her husband who died a year ago. She's trying to find closure in that. And also she manages to form some sort of friendship, some sort of bond with another man that is living in, or staying at the hotel she's staying at. This other guy played by Michael Shannon, of all people. And I know that sounds like a lot of different plots, but honestly, it all converges in a nice, easy to understand fashion, and it all works well with the overall theme and the overall story of the film. I feel like they did a good job juggling all of this in the movie. Okay, I know I showed a very crazy clip in the intro of my video, but ultimately, I actually liked this film. Personally, I think the best thing about this movie is the acting. Katherine Waterston is great as our main character, and she does a really good job at playing a character that doesn't talk a lot, that emotes a lot, and has some subtlety to her emotions in a way where you can still tell exactly what she's thinking and how she's feeling in the scene. And honestly, I think she does a good job playing that type of character, this more internal type of character. Michael Shannon is Michael Shannon, so he is actually really great in this film as well. And the scenes with Shannon and Waterstone are my favorite scenes in the movie, to be honest. And they have less to do with the overall story, but they help develop her character and us understand some of the things that she's going through the conversations that these two have, and how she's trying to move on from the suicide but also still wants closure, and trying to move on by actually having a relationship with Shannon. I like how the two characters meet in the film because she gets the wrong impression of him, and that helps build his character as we learn more about him, as we learn that he's a little bit more complex than this possible drunk playboy that he kind of gives off. Luke Evans is also in this movie. He plays this mysterious stranger to her husband's past. He was a childhood friend of her husband's, but she doesn't know about him. And then he also seems to own this really weird club, this sort of gentleman's nightclub sort of thing. And I think Luke Evans is really great in this film as well. And I also like the husband. I don't know the actor's name because I don't think I've ever seen him in a movie before. And he's only in flashback scenes pretty much, but I thought he was good as well. Those four central leads are really good, and thankfully they're really good because they help balance out the rest of the acting, which unfortunately is pretty bad. In my opinion, I thought both of the mothers were the weakest links of the acting in this movie. Both Katherine Waterstone's mother in the film and her mother-in-law, the one who was the mother of the actor who's dead. I thought both of them were pretty bad, especially Katherine Waterstone's mother in the movie. I really enjoyed a lot of the technical aspects of the film. I enjoyed the cinematography, the set design, and the color of the movie as well. I like the editing in this movie as well. There's a lot of flashbacks that have to be dealt with in this movie because it starts off with the suicide and then it jumps 1 year later to the present time, and once she gets to Brussels, she starts having flashbacks of the suicide, of what happened before it, and the things around it, and it's like you slowly piece together what happened in the past from her flashbacks, and it takes a lot of skill to edit it in a way that isn't confusing and actually has a flow to it. Personally, I love the type of flashbacks where you can completely understand why the main character would have that flashback at that particular moment, whether it be because something is happening similar to what she's flashing back to, or there's this particular item that she sees that reminds her of a certain other thing in the flashback. And I feel the flashbacks had that type of flow to it, which is why I was definitely not bothered by the constant flashbacks. If you're the type of person that is annoyed by that kind of thing, you might not like State Like Sleep, because there is a lot of flashbacks and piecing together what happened in the past from those flashbacks. There is a lot of things to like about this movie, but ultimately there are a few things that keep it from being a really good movie. For one, I feel that there are moments where the film goes out of its way to have something very weird happen in the film. Now, whether that's because they wanted to try to make it more dreamlike because she's sort of like sleepwalking through life in a way, or it was just to be a little bit more artsy and just have something really weird happen, such as the scene that I showed in the intro earlier where she hooks up with a guy and he happens to have like some shampoo fetish or something, so he starts, he has her take a bath and starts rubbing the shampoo in her hair, and then just gets off on that. And of course there's also the nightclub and some weird characters in that as well. And I definitely did not like the music in the nightclub. I understand why it was like that, but it just annoyed me because it's just not my type of music. So I do feel that there are some like filler weird scenes in the movie. Not a lot, but a few. And that might make some people think, oh, this is just a weird, strange film, I don't like it. And I totally understand if that happens to you. And I do wish that there was a little bit more thriller mystery involved with it. It feels like, it's hard to explain because it is a bit of a drama. It is definitely a drama, and it's also trying to be like this mystery thriller, or to hook you in with that, because our character wants some sort of closure, right? And I wish there was something, I wish the thriller developed a little bit better, and it was a little more intense, or it was more thriller-esque. Don't get me wrong, I think the drama is well done, but again, that could have been better as well. So it's almost like they didn't want to do a full-blown drama and make that dramatic. They didn't want to go full-blown thriller and make it exciting, and so they tried to do like, try to have the best of both worlds in a way, but just not go to the extent that either of them could have. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I just wish there was a little bit more to both of those aspects, rather than just feel like a okay version of both. I have a feeling that this is one of those movies that I might see a few more times and like it a little bit more every time I see it, and maybe pick up on a few other things. But this is also a movie that a lot of people probably would see it for the first time, get bored, and not like it. So if that's how you feel about the film, if you see it, I totally understand. This is not for everyone, but at the same time, it's not completely overblown, and it's not completely artistic to the point where it's just going to completely alienate you. But in the end, I think I'm going to give State Like Sleep 3.5 stars. Again, it might go lower, it might go higher if I see it more, but I do plan to see it a little bit more and maybe make even a longer review of it. So, have you seen State Like Sleep? What do you think about it? Go ahead and comment below. And if you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and check out my movie reviews or countdowns of this year, of previous years, of whatever. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My